You're watching The Experience, Comic Culture and Sales, streaming live daily to Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter.
Welcome, everyone. Thanks again for coming back on a Thursday evening. This is Mog and Mel, and the show is called Sketch Up, and you're watching us on The Experience. Our special guest tonight is Pat Shand, and we'll come back with him in a moment and find out what he's all about. He's got several projects that he's campaigned throughout the year, so it'll be very interesting to find out exactly what that all that he's doing here. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome, everyone. Thanks again for joining us on this Thursday. Our special guest today is Pat Shand, and I just want to hear a check right now. Can you guys hear me? Okay? Is everybody?
I hear you. Yeah, you hear me?
And the viewers too. Thanks, Cool Gamer, for joining us. And I haven't seen you before, so I'm hoping that the promo ads got to everyone. We are giving away a free drawing today from Mog, a little bit different to trying to draw more viewers into the show. So I hope we get a lot more people for that. And it's not just going to be like a cheap sketch. We're trying to make these better than what you would normally get, along with the other things that we will be drawing here. Right. So today, like I said, we have Pat Shand, and Pat, you have many projects, and I have to let you know that I wasn't really aware of like who you were until I started like looking into what you've got there, and there's a lot. I'm not really sure where to start, but so why don't you lead us in that? Tell us who you are. What you're about, and what current projects do you have now?
Sure. I'm Pat Shand. Been writing comics professionally since 2011. I work with companies like IDW, Boom Studios, Zenescope, Devil's Due, Avatar. Kind of runs the industry as far as that goes. From what I've done on the indie side, I've done a great deal of books on Kickstarter. That's where I fund most of my work these days. I have a publishing company called Space Between Entertainment that I operate through Kickstarter, paired with some comic shops. I have a not safe for work imprint called Cheeky Comics. I currently do work with Black Mask, who licenses my Destiny New York book. I have a TV show in development for Destiny New York that is on hold right now because of the strike that just got a little more intense today.
Wow.
Right now on Kickstarter, I have Vix the Hunter #1. It is a post-apocalyptic story of a warrior woman and her giant fox. And I still do work for hire. You know, I'm writing Van Helsing monthly for Zenescope, and I am writing the next arc of Miss Meow for Merc Publishing.
Okay.
So yeah.
Oh, okay. Wow, that's a
lot.
Yeah, that's a very interesting.
The Miss Meow thing, I had no idea that I could talk about until like 5 seconds ago. The editor tweeted about it, so I guess it is in the clear to talk about.
Okay, so you're good to talk about that. Yeah, why don't you go ahead and tell us about that? Because that's a independent comic not too much people know about, but it is popular. I do see that out there. I do see them at the shows often, and kind of forget the girl's name that's associated with that. But she's out there as well. They do some fantastic work.
I mean,
with what they do there.
I would say it's a pretty big comic. It's it's Merc's flagship. It's what drew me to them in the first place. But the truth is that I have a friend there. His name is Aaron Sparrow. I pitched to him years and years and years ago. He used to work for a company called APE Entertainment, and they had a license. You know, back then they had Richie Rich, they had Casper Scare School, and this was in like 2011. So I pitched. Funny enough, I pitched on Casper back then. I didn't get a Casper gig for them. I ended up getting Casper later on in my career through a different publisher. But I knew Aaron, talked to him for years, And finally, we found a great place to work together, which was on Miss Meow. You know, they're wrapping up their first arc now, and I'll be writing on the second arc. I think it's a cool character, great world, a very unique world, and I love how they're utilizing both Kickstarter and the direct market to bring readers closer in touch with the creative teams. They are Merck in general is very artist focused, which I love. I love how they take, the idea of collectible variant artists and they pair with artists to become superstars together. Like, for example, Shikari is an artist who works exclusively, I think, with Comics Elite / Merck, and that's been a great pairing for them. And yes, seeing that creator focus is great to me. I really enjoy working with companies like them, like Black Mask, well, like Zenoscope, that it's indie, but it lets the creators feel taken care of and feel like they're reaching a higher fan base with a connected universe.
Right, yeah, and Shikari is he's not cheap. Yeah.
Oh no, yeah, there was that trending post recently. Shikari did about his rates. And yeah, high rates. That's one of the things where as demand for an artist rises, so too does their rate. I think that's great.
Yeah.
I've actually never spoken to Shikari, but more power to him. And I think that just knowing what Merck does, I'm sure that we'll have some Shikari covers on my first issue of Miss Meow. I believe it's going to be branded as Chapter 1, but it should be issue number 9.
Okay. So, and is that the issue that you're starting on?
Yeah.
Okay. And when do you expect that to come out again?
I don't know.
It's not on the schedule yet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I'd say pretty soon. I mean, pretty soon. The issue's fully drawn. We're rolling on it. But as far as scheduling, I don't know. I wasn't even clear that I could speak about it until just right now.
Okay.
But yeah.
Well, that the timing is great. So we're glad to hear about that.
Exactly. Yeah.
If you guys heard that, you can check that out. That's going to be written by Pat Chan. And you said you're also writing Van Helsing for Zenoscope.
Yeah, they do it. Sorry.
Is that something you're still on? You're still on as a writer?
Yeah, I actually, along with Ralph Tedesco and Joe Bruscia and Raven Gregory, back in 2013, we were all planning this Unleashed event. It was essentially bringing classic monsters into Zenoscope's sort of more modern, grounded fairy tale universe. So we brought in vampires, werewolves, demons, zombies, and through that, Ralph Tedesco had the idea to bring forth a female vampire hunter who was the daughter of Abraham Van Helsing. And from that point on, I wrote Van Helsing for years. I wrote her very first issue, which was Van Helsing #1, and carried on for 20 issues of 4 different miniseries. And I was on her for 3 years. And then I took a break in 2017. And then in 2020, I came back on the title for the second run. And I've been on that run for 2 years now. We do every other month, we do at least a 32 pager. They range from 32 pages to 72 pages. So it's essentially a standalone story that builds into a season. So right now we're beginning a new season that is a bit more vampire focused. So it's Van Helsing versus vampires every month.
Fantastic. Yeah, and I know I have. I believe I have the first 5 issue of that series that I have picked up back then. So I'm gonna have to go through my stats, dig those up, and put them aside when we get a chance to, if we ever get a chance to ever meet. Now, those are 2 projects that you worked on for other publishers. But let's talk about your own that you currently have here now. The what's called the Vix the Hunter, right?
Yeah, Vix the Hunter. Yeah, Vix the Hunter is the newest one. My company is called Space Between Entertainment. I started doing this back in 2016 when I pushed into the Kickstarter market. I planned for my launch to be Destiny New York Volume 1, and I've been doing it for years now. We had, I believe that this is my 7th year doing this through Space Between. Many titles, ongoing series, some mini-series, some graphic novels. Vix the Hunter is the latest one. It's a single issue series. It pairs a warrior woman and her giant radioactive four-eyed fox. It's a world that has been devastated by a radioactive event, so the animals are changed and society is fractured. So it's only her and this giant feral fox trying to make their way.
Mm. Yeah, sorry about that. Okay, got that. Yeah, when I saw the cover for that you had sent over, and I saw the four-eyed fox, I said, "Oh, okay, that's a little different there." Okay.
Yeah.
And how did you get the idea for that?
Well, it started back when I did my graphic novel Afterglow. Afterglow was the first book set in this world. So the concept of that, it's this girl who was raised after the post-apocalypse, after this big event happened. So she's in the new world, essentially. She's in this village, and she picks up this kitten who is at the time the size of a regular cat. But as she grows, this kitten balloons to be the size of an elephant. It's this giant cat who kind of can't control himself, so she gets banished and she has to go on this adventure. Now, through this adventure, on the way, she ends up meeting and running into this group of feral foxes that attack her cat. So that was a sort of all-ages fun adventure graphic novel, but the images of those foxes that we had in the book stuck with me. And I always wanted to go back and do more Afterglow, so it felt cool to sort of, instead of just continuing that character's story, to pull in a new character and have it be, instead of a girl and her cat for all ages, have it be a woman and her giant feral fox for more adult readers. So it spins out of that world and it expands on that while telling its own brand new story.
Wow, how many titles do you have under your banner there?
A lot. Yeah. I mean, you know, I've never counted. But for example, this year alone, I think that we're gonna have I think 20 Kickstarters.
Wow, yeah, impressive. Yeah, because like I said, when I was looking under your banner, I go, man, this guy's been around for a while. I can't believe that I've never seen this stuff before. Right, so now I gotta like keep an eye on you and see like what you're doing. So it's great to have you here.
It's good to
and
be here.
hear all this stuff and kind of get caught up a little bit. Now you had a Kickstarter that ran before that as well. What was that? I think I saw that earlier.
Oh, the previous one was As of the Barbed.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, that is a book that I did with Rio Burton. We did single issues through Scout Comics, and now we published the hardcover through ourselves. It's Rio Burton and Space Between teaming up. It is the story of a banished warrior. She was raised in this sect of holy warriors, and when she comes of age, she takes upon this ritual called the Obsidian Rite. And for birthright, she goes and does this dance ritual, and she's supposed to get blessed by her gods with this magical power that shows up on her body in these glowing white tattoos, which she can use as weapons. But the ritual goes wrong, and instead of receiving this holy marking, she receives these dark barbs that look like tattoos that snake through her arms and her face. So her people take it as an omen, and they banish her. The only thing that she's allowed to do is to watch this imprisoned demon. Now, when our story kicks off, the demon escapes, and she has to make the choice. Do I go to the town that banished me and save the people who forsook me, or do I let the demon kill them, you know? And her journey is all about that choice, all about finding if she's going to become a hero or if she's going to let herself just live life.
Wow. Okay, so we got a hero's journey there. Interesting.
Yeah.
And man, that's a lot of creative ideas that you had there. Have you? How do you come up with those ideas? What is that all stemming from?
You know, every book is different. The Vix the Hunter pitch that came to me just by looking back at Afterglow and thinking, oh, those foxes were really cool. What can I do with them? And then thinking about the world, thinking about more stories I could tell, thinking about ways to have fun there. So that book is pure fun, and I I envisioned it to have fun with a different writer. So we brought in a co-writer, Jeff Massey, who's a friend of mine, and that concept was envisioned to have us sort of just play together in this universe. With As of the Barbed, it was Rio Burton who came to me with the idea. People always think that it's the writer who has to have the base idea, but in comics, the fun part is collaboration. I just knew Rio Burton through Twitter, and I had worked with some of her friends like Emily Pearson on Snap Flash Hustle, and Rio DM'd me one day with this idea, and we talked it out. She drew some concepts, and I took her idea and developed it into a full pitch for the world for this first storyline, and that's how it went down. That was a very collaborative way. Whereas there are other titles, like my next one is called Private Dance. It's on our adult imprint. It's about a New York City strip club. That idea I had years and years ago, over a decade ago, and that has just been gestating and developing in my head. And I wrote that fully, plotted it on my own, and then I just hired out the artist, who is Yishan Lee, who is doing an absolutely incredible job. So for me, it's a mixture of artist comes to me, I just think about how to develop out a world I already have, or I create a new world and bring an artist into it. Then the fourth way is like Zenescope or like Merc, where it's an existing world I'm hired to write in. So for Zenescope, I'm given a plot for Van Helsing, and I turn that into a script, and I can develop certain areas of the plot too. With Merc, on Miss Meow, I read the first arc of Miss Meow, and then I looked at the character. I asked some things to keep the same, some things to change, and I developed that next wave of the story from there on my own with the editor. And there's all sorts of ways that writing and story can be found and discovered through comics. There's no one way that I do it. The only through line in all my work is that I tend to go character first. So I always think about, what does this mean for the core character? What does this mean for their cast? Rather than what happens as the beats of the story. I'm just character focused.
All right. So you're saying that your stories are character driven.
Yeah.
So you're looking for that character to overcome an obstacle and looking for that character growth.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. And that's what makes it interesting when you're developing these characters, that you want to see them accomplish something that is that can be a pivotal moment in their life. Just like, with us as regular people, those are the stories that we like to tell about ourselves. I remember this one time where I did this, and from there, that's how I learned how to do this.
Yeah.
The things that we talk about. And I like your way of how you come up with the ideas. When I had my own production studios, where we did the same thing, we would have a day where we would spend like a couple of hours just to like brainstorm ideas. And it didn't matter what your position was in the studios, we just brought you in, right? Even if you didn't even deal anything with the story or art, we just brought you in because you never know how somebody thinks. You don't know on what their background is, or what they like to do. If they read a lot, they'll be exposed to all kinds of things that they could bring in into areas that we don't know about, into things, because even though we read a lot ourselves, but we may not read the kind of material that they've read, or been exposed to other things that they've been exposed to, their experiences, their background. So it's always good to get that. And we did get some incredible ideas or stories from people that weren't part of that process, but it was something that acted like a lead that we could act on. So that's a great thing to do.
Yeah, 100%. And it's just been a great joy being able to collaborate with people on things like this. I come from theater. I used to write plays, and when I would do that, I would be sitting with actors, and we'd be they'd be reading the lines. I would note what things to change. I would get feedback in person. And now with comics, it's the same, but with other artists, other writers. And just like you said, it doesn't matter that who has what level of clout, who has what level of experience. I'm always willing to hear everybody out. For example, I recently started my adult imprint. The overall company is Space Between Entertainment, and we now have this not safe for work imprint called Cheeky Comics. Now, I had the idea for Private Dance and a book called Only Friends with Pen, and I wanted a fantasy book. So I met with my editor Shannon and our group editor Steve, and it was Steve's first story session, and we just talked about how to find that third story. What is the fantasy going to be? And we talked about dragons. We talked about fantasy worlds, magical worlds like Harry Potter, and we settled on Greek and Roman mythology. So that ended up becoming a story about this Cupid girl. But how it started was just me saying, I want to do a sexy fantasy story in this not safe for work imprint. What is interesting to you guys? And now we have one of our favorite titles that we write.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic. Hey, before we go on, I want to mention that we are giving away a free piece of our art, and to do that, to qualify for that, all you got to do is just make a comment. So I see that Cool Gamer is in here. They made a comment, so I got you down already. Same thing with Mike Wesolowski. Thanks again, Mike, for joining the show. I did enjoy meeting you a few weeks ago. That was great. And Mog, what are you drawing tonight?
This is Shanna the She-Devil.
Shanna the She-Devil. Okay, so, and what size is that?
It's kind of small. It's
all right, we're gonna, I can't see
7 by 10.
7 by 10. Okay, we're gonna start that off at $50. In a moment, I will share the artwork that we are giving away free. It is Storm, and it's based off of Arthur Adams as Guardian Storm. Right? So you can look forward to that in a moment. I'll share that with you. So I want to thank you guys for coming here. Yeah. All right. And Mike, where exactly are you located? Where are you located, Mike? What is your phone?
Mike?
Yeah. Can you hear me, Mike?
Oh, in the comments.
Oh, I'm sorry.
His name is Pat Mel.
Pat.
Oh, you're asking me?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Pat. I was actually meant to talk to you, but somehow I kept staring at Mike's name on the chat.
I'm in New York.
Okay, you're in New York. Okay, so that's one reason why we haven't traveled that far. Do you do a lot of shows?
I do a lot of shows. In fact, this year I'm doing more shows than ever. For the next, until the end of September, I think I have 2 weeks off. Two weekends off, yeah.
Are you going to be in San Diego next week?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
Ooh, did you hear about what happened?
How do you feel about that with the actors and the writers' strike going on? Do you think that's going to have an impact on the show, or what are you thinking?
Maybe it can make it more comics focused, but probably not. I think that the studios are going to do what they can to still drive some hype to it. The truth is, though, that it's unprecedented. We can't say. All I can say is that I stand in solidarity with the writers. I appreciate the actors stepping in there. I think that this is for a worthy cause. I hope that they get what they want. And I have a series that we're developing too. Destiny New York was announced as a TV show with me as co-producer in March, and then the strike hit very soon after. So I personally am very invested in this strike and getting it done. And hopefully we can come to a peaceful and satisfying resolution for the writers and go forward from there.
Okay, but how do you think do you think that's going to have an impact on attendance? Do you think that attendees may cancel or try to sell off their tickets, right? Because it's going to present a different feel from the con from what it usually has, where it's been so celebrity driven, and with not as much of those celebrities there, with them canceling and backing out. That's going to have a impact, I believe. Do you agree on that, or what do you think?
I don't know. I haven't really thought about it personally. That's not really where my head is at as far as the strike goes. For San Diego, though, the fact of the matter is this. Last year, the audience was fractured because of a couple of things. One, because of COVID, and two, because of how San Diego handled their COVID procedure. People had to go to a different building to get verified. People were confused. It made it so it was very difficult to exist as a creator or even just a fan of San Diego. And it was a weird time to be doing that because the other cons weren't doing that. So San Diego has been pushing hard the idea that this is the first back to normal convention. I think that's a good move. I think that no matter what, as impactful as the strike could be, and it could be, I don't know, it cannot be as impactful as their protocols were last year. That, to me, really limited the amount of people that could go into the con, and because that has wrapped up and they're not doing that this year, I think that no matter what, we're going to see an increase in interest.
Yeah, I agree with you there, because we did attend last year, and it's because of what went on last year that we're not attending this year. Right?
Yeah.
Because their protocols that they had last year was just
ridiculous.
It was.
Were you there last year?
Yeah, he said he was.
Oh, he was there.
Yeah, I was there. I walked all the way to the building, got turned around, was asked to go find some hotel to go into, to show them a vaccine card. It's like, hey, if you're going to do that, I don't agree with doing that at all. But if you're going to do that, have someone at the door where the convention is. Don't have them have to go through hoops to go to a different building. It made absolutely zero sense.
Right.
Oh, and there was no differentiation between the different different, what do you call it? Your pass.
Right.
Like there was something like there's a special ranking passes. They didn't care. They just put you all in the same, and you still had to go. Like, what's the use of buying more or getting the special? It was just.
Or
I agree.
Or if you were a guest there, they didn't seem to have that much of a difference. It was hard. You still had to go through all that to get in.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. It hurt the convention, and I just don't understand how you can be such a big convention and not have an app where you upload a picture of the vaccine card. Able to do that, you get badge verified and scan right in. To physically have to find a different building to go into and be directed different times during the day to different areas just based on the whim of the workers. Unreal.
Right.
Huh.
That made it like really difficult. This is K-pop junkie. Get that down. Welcome to the show, K-pop.
Actually, they did. They never told it outright, but there was an app you had to go through. Yeah. It's called Clear.
Yep.
And if you upload it through there, then you get to go to a special line and then show them. It's a bit faster.
Yeah, but it was.
But nobody told us.
They didn't tell us in the beginning.
The Clear thing, and that felt like it was trying to just promote the Clear company, not for the.
100%. Clear also has a presence at the airports here, and to use Clear, you have to give them your credit card information.
Yes.
And you have to cancel it before you start paying them. So it's a scam in order to get money. It's not intended to help. It's intended to make money off of us.
Right. Yeah. And they enticed us with.
I did it.
They enticed us with that to do that.
I did it.
And it did get us into a shorter line, but it was still a long line because everybody was doing it to try to get in, just to try and get out of the heat, get out of the sun. So it was horrendous. And so I decided to just wait and see how they do, and I think I'm just going to wait until they get back to normal before we decide to get back into San Diego. The other thing that for me that I'm concerned about for us is that there is a lot of Southern California shows, right? And I don't want to do all the shows just because they're a show, because then you just over proliferate ourselves, and so I don't want to go through that. So I'm going to be picky on what California shows we do here in Southern California. And on that note, we're going to take a break, but stay tuned. We'll be right back with Pat Shannon, and we'll talk more about this business of comics. All right? So stay tuned.
Join the party. Head over to our link tree to find all the links for everywhere the experience is all the time. What if Hans Gruber from Die Hard had to battle the Joker from Batman the Animated Series in a dance battle? Or who would win in a race between Baby from Baby Driver and Snidely Whiplash? If Austin Powers and Shrek found themselves in a hot dog eating contest, who would emerge victorious? These are the questions we talk about on Nerd Killer Warfare. Debate the most absurd questions you've ever heard in popular culture. Register now by scanning the QR code or visiting bit.ly/EXP casting.
Imagine being at a convention and going to an interview panel that's just for you. No bustling crowds, no hours-long lines, just you, the moderator, and your favorite comic book creators. Well, this is pretty much that. Miss Jen sits down every week with 2 comic book creators for a live stream interview about their latest work, and you can ask them whatever you want. It's Talking Shop, Mondays at 5 Eastern on The Experience, Comic Culture and Sales.
Go follow The Experience on TikTok at @the_EXP1 or scan the QR code on the screen. Our TikTok is like everywhere else we are, except you only have to deal with us for a minute. Seems like a win-win to me.
Welcome back. We have Pat Shannon here today. We're just talking about the San Diego Comic Con, and we are giving. Today we are starting to give away free artwork from Mog, and I just sent that piece of JD, and there it is right there. So if you want to get this piece, all you got to do is make a comment. And right now I have in the drawing we have Armin Nassim, K-Pop Junkie, Mike Wesolowski, and Cool Gamer. Qualified to get that free drawing. The only thing that we'll need from you is your address, and we'll mail that to you free of charge as well. All right, so if you're here watching the show, you can go ahead and make a comment, and that will get you into the drawing. And aside from that, Mog is also drawing Shanna, which is looking pretty good. If you can show that up a little bit.
Huh? I don't know how.
There. Okay, well, that's the best you can do, but that's coming along. You can tell that she's working it. Looks like
isn't this guy's Zabu?
Zabu is in there as well. So
Zabu and
anyway, you it's getting 2 characters in there. The starting bid on that is $50. We're gonna keep it low. So if you want to bid on that, just say just put your bid amount in the comments, and then we'll get you into that. All right. So besides San Diego, Pat, what's the other shows? What shows do you like doing?
Shows do I like doing?
Have
The
you
one
gone
I
to
don't
you've
Sorry.
gone to MegaCon?
No, I have not. I actually I was in Florida for the first time ever 2 weeks ago for SuperCon.
Yeah,
In Miami, and
yeah. I actually like that. I kind of like that show. We did the first one that Reed Pop when they first like took over, and even though it was like in transition, it was I felt like it was a good show. But we haven't been back there since. Love the area. The area is nice.
yeah, Miami's great. If I could move to, a different place, I like it here in New York, but I love San Diego. I love Miami. Either would be a beautiful place to settle down, depending on lifestyle. Um, but yeah, SuperCon was cool, but it was the city that really drew me in. I like doing conventions in Philly. I like, in general, California. I enjoy doing. Con wise, I like the size of Baltimore, where it's a bigger con, but it's low key enough where you could still talk to people. You could talk to publishers, artists, people in the industry. Um, and a convention that I did last year that I loved was Exotica. That is not a Comic Con, it's an adult convention. And I was the only booth there selling comics. And it was a test convention for me. And it worked out amazingly. So this year, I'm coming back with way more adult themed comics, and I'm going to make it a major priority for my imprint, Cheeky Comics.
Wow, that's a very interesting. I
When
used to do kind of forget what it was called. I think it was called E3 at the time, and they used to like take over the Las Vegas area where they would have it in several of their shows. But along with that, they would have like the adult entertainment in there too, and they were like a big part of it. They're separated now, but back then it was kind of like interesting to see the kind of products that they were selling there. I was there because it was also in line with a comic book show, right, that they would have out there. So you'd have this small comic book show that's like competing with the big electronic consumer show and with the adult entertainment. So it was kind of rough to do, but something that we thought would work out. And that's where I kind of learned like. Yeah, it was crazy, and that's when I learned during that time. This was in the '90s, by the way. But what I learned was that Las Vegas was not a good place to have a show because everybody would rather go into the casinos to gamble, you know. So, but that was then. The times are different now. So we do a show there. What was it, Amazing Las Vegas Comic Con, which is actually a really good show for us. And that happens around every June, like the beginning of the summer. So that's one show that's worth it to do. Yeah. How about what is it? Everybody talks about like Comic Con and Baltimore Comic Con. Have you done those? That's
Baltimore Comic Con?
We did, yeah. The New York City.
Well, Baltimore was the one that I said that it is a good balance of busy, big, and kind of.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, because we hear that there's a lot of art too that sells there as well. That seems to be more.
That's more true of Heroes Con. I did a Heroes Con this year. I see the question in the comments from Mike. I did a Heroes Con this year, and Heroes Con I find is a major art show. They have this artist auction, and it's strongly focused on art. And while I will say that it was among my better shows of the year, it's still a little bit less writer focused than other cons like Baltimore, where it's a bit more balanced between writer and artist. Heroes is a lot more focused on art than anything else. But yeah, New York I've done, that's local to me. I've done New York for years and years and years. I've done it with publishers like Zenescope, and I have done it in my own at Artist Alley, so it just every year depends on what the vibe is. But this year, I don't know yet. We shall see.
Interesting. Okay, so you're not set up for New York yet at this time? Or?
Not yet, no.
Okay.
But I'll be there. It just depends on if I'll be with a publisher or multiple publishers, or if I'll be on my own.
I like what you said there, JD. Who has money to gamble anymore? And that is coming true. We are starting to get tight there. K-pop Junkie wrote in, Baltimore has that award-winning ceremony too. What ceremony is that?
The Ringos, I think, right?
Oh, the Ringo's Award. Okay, yeah, and that's coming to a close. They still have that going on there. Right, yeah, and the thing with Heroes Comic Con is that that's the show that's been around for not a lot of people know, but it's been a show that's been around for a long time. That's been put out by Sheldon Drum, who also owns Heroes Aren't Hard to Find out there in Charlotte. So it's because of him that it is art driven, because he's always been big on the art as long as I can remember. I initially met him back in the 80s, and so that's going like way back, even before he started his show.
Yeah,
he used to drive. He actually used to drive all the way out to California to do shows out there once a month, and we have a chance to talk to him because he's such a unique kind of fellow to be doing something like that. Okay, let's see. Question for the panel: best con food, the super greasy pizza or the bland hot dog? What do you go for, Pat?
I mean, of those two, I'll probably do the bland hot dog because, pizza, I live in New York, I like some nasty pizza. I will get fast food pizza like Pizza Hut or Domino's, but I am trained on really good Long Island, New York City, Brooklyn pizza. But convention pizza is a step beyond and below everything else that you can imagine. So that I cannot do. But what I would probably go for is the tasteless chicken tender. When the time comes, I have to. If I can't order food in for whatever reason, if I don't bring food, I would go to the food court and I would say, "Give me one of those unseasoned, waxy chicken tenders," and I would eat that.
That's an interesting thing, because that's something that we have to think about when we do cons. Like, where is the food, or how easily access to the food is there, or is there going to be food trucks out there? Sometimes there is, sometimes there isn't. Sometimes the cons they're a real stickler on bringing food in.
Oh yeah,
yeah. So you gotta do that. Think about that. So our thing is that for us, like when we do a show, I try to stay at like an Airbnb. It does work out cheaper for us that way. And then so this way I can cook breakfast. I can make something really easy. And lately it's just been like eggs and bacon. You fry those up really quick and just pop some bread in the toaster. Right. So we get by with that. This way there's no like big rush to get to the show, because we're always trying to get there early to set things back up and get caught up on a few pieces of work that need to get done, things like that. But then when it comes time to lunch and dinner, that's when you got to figure out like where you're going to go. I don't mind walking, and sometimes I'll walk like 20 minutes to get to a place to go get food. For me, it gives me a break where I can just like get out there and kind of like get a breath of fresh air, feel the sun a bit, and just kind of like relax in a way. So this way I can, because you're at the con and you're trying to working it and you're talking to people and you're kind of like putting yourself out there. Even though I'm not the artist, Mog is, but there's a lot of tendency where there's more than one person at the table, and Mog is talking to one, and you don't want to leave these other people hanging, and you don't want them to you want to try to make sure that they don't feel like they're waiting for like a long time. So you're trying to engage them. So that takes, even though I've been doing this for a long time, even longer than what Mog has been doing, much longer. It still takes a toll on you. So by the time at the end of the day, I'm just like dead tired.
Yeah. So. I mean, I hear you. I would prefer to just thug it out and not eat the food at the convention. If I could eat before, cool. After, I'll wait, because they're going to give you the worst food ever made. Say they'll give you a platter of a hot dog and French fries. $26. That's like that's crazy. I would rather not do it. But I mean, I don't do Airbnb because I kind of fear Airbnb. I feel that, there's never no chance. I feel like the chance to get killed in an Airbnb is way higher.
Did you watch the movie Barbarian or something?
No, what's that?
Oh,
It's Airbnb gone wrong.
it's kind of like, if you've seen that movie series called Hostel. This is like the Airbnb version of that.
Hostel.
Yeah, of getting killed there. But for us, I've been doing Airbnbs since I don't know, 6-7 years now, and there have been some issues, but for the most part, we've had some. For the most part, it's been really good.
Yeah, it's been good.
A lot of you kind of learn to, just like with anything, even like with the airlines, you kind of learn on how to which ones you can like go for, which ones are going to be safe, which ones aren't going to have that much of a problem.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard a lot of this crazy thing happened in the Airbnb story. That I've heard a lot. But the fact of the matter is, at a hotel, like say in an Airbnb, someone who lives there might decide, I'm going to go live in the crawl space while this family is here and watch the whole time. At a hotel, it's not going to happen because there's different people cleaning it out every day. So there's going to be things that they check for that at an Airbnb, it's just a guy. It's just the same person who will be tricking you is the guy who cleans the shit. So it's
Dude,
some guy. That's crazy to me.
Dude, oh my gosh. The movie Barbarian is kind of like what you just said.
Yeah, I mean, it seems as if that's what would be happening in real life,
No, haven't had any of those experiences yet, like that of anybody like watching us.
Well, we wouldn't know if they were.
We wouldn't know, but we've been.
I don't know how to tell.
Well, you look on there and there's a whole range of places that you can stay at, and they can be really cheap, or they can be really expensive, more than what a hotel charges, depending on like what they have to offer and the kind of place that they have. And so you can kind of choose. There are reviews that you can go by. I try to choose the ones that are there's like a thing that you can qualify for as a host, and so those are the ones that I try to stay with if possible, within our range. All right, so K-pop Junkie writes in, figure drawing Barbarian is great, and I know where it was filmed locally. Oh, interesting.
Oh, where?
Where was that? Because that area does look spooky. And I know that's just a small part of the city that it's in.
Yeah.
But that looked kind of interesting, like where it was. Yeah.
So when you were doing Exotica, the convention Exotica, did you actually have like adult material to sell, or you just didn't, and still people were like, just hey, give me that.
Oh yeah, I have back then I only had one book. I had a book called Thirsty, and that is a collection of 5 sexy stories that overlap and entwine in exciting, funny, sexy ways. And then I had a few variant covers to previous books, but it was largely going to Exotica with one book, and it was still my biggest con of the year, which really set me up for this year, because this year I'm going to do 2 Exoticas. I should have done Miami, but that starts tomorrow, so I just didn't have enough time. I'm doing Exotica Jersey and Exotica DC. I'm going to have a bunch. I'm going to have Thirsty, Cheeky, and Steamy. They're all in a series together. I'm going to have Cheeky Annual, which is pretty much our sampler. It has our 3 titles with short stories in there. I'm doing a Private Dance, which is the comic about a club, and Only Friends with Pen, which is about an OnlyFans creator. So I'm going to have all these. I'm going to have these holographic acrylic standees. I'm going to have prints, art pieces. I'm going to have the works. I'm going to have mouse pads, these sort of mouse pads, and it's going to be a beautiful presentation. And I think that if Exotica last year with one book was the best con of the year, I can't even imagine what it's going to be like this year.
Wow, that good, huh?
Did you sell more prints or books when you were in Exotica?
Exotica just books. Back then, for that one, I didn't have any prints.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's just that. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I would imagine prints would do well, but I just didn't have them then. But now I do.
It's just that recently the trend that we've seen, just generally as artists, the prints are getting harder to sell. So, just curious.
But that could vary from artist to artist, because I think that for us, that's just.
It's not just us. It's
overall,
in general,
I think it is, but I do see other artists selling prints better than us, and it just could be just because of the material that we have, right? And we're just not in there yet. And they're saying that the movie was shot in 7 miles outside of Detroit, and that it's an area that is labeled as scary. So
really,
it makes sense that they
Detroit.
There. Yeah. It was located in one of the most dangerous areas in Detroit, which makes zero sense because if you would research that, they would say that immediately. Interesting. So it sounds like they did choose the right place there. Now, what are you guys talking about here? Like White Castle? Can you ship me some White Castle? Don't they have that in your grocery store? I see that in ours we have here in
Not the same.
It's different.
Not the same.
Different.
Not the same?
No, you got to have it fresh off the grill.
Okay. I'm sorry, but I've had White Castle off the grill, and I don't know. I just wasn't impressed by it. I know how you guys out there on the East Coast really love that stuff. But we just weren't. And the thing is that we took a 2-hour ride from where we were in. Where was it? In what's that suburb in Chicago we're in?
Rockford.
In Rockford, right? So from there we had to travel like 2 hours to get to a White Castle, which a friend of ours drove us to. I think I ate about like 8 of them because they are kind of like pretty small. But it was a nice experience and nice to try.
Yeah, and you know what? The only reason why I wanted the White Castle was because I saw the movie Kumar and.
Of course. That movie is an amazing ad for White Castle. It makes you hungry for it, I personally like White Castle, but the truth is that I feel you have to have it when you're a kid. If you start eating it as an adult, it's not going to be as good. But if you have it since you're a kid, it's going to be amazing. For example, I grew up in New York. I moved for 2 years to San Diego. Now in California is where you have In-N-Out.
Yeah.
You hear all the time about how In-N-Out's amazing. I've had In-N-Out. I tried it multiple times to try to get the hype. In-N-Out to me, out of a 10, it's a 4.3 burger.
Yeah.
It's one of the most. It's lower than mid, and then the fries are the worst fries on planet Earth. The fries are like you took the styrofoam curls that you find in a box and you fry them, but you barely fry them. You just give them out raw almost. In-N-Out has the worst fries in the game and the most less than mid burger imaginable. Shake Shack, even Steak and Shake, bodies In-N-Out. But my thought is that what if these Californians are not tricking us? What if they just tried it as kids? They love this 4.3 burger because they had it as kids. It's nostalgia. That's why this happens. But if you eat it as an adult and animal style fries, a mess. The worst thing you can eat on planet Earth.
Yeah, see, I'm hearing all these kind of, okay, In-N-Out is my favorite burger.
I
right?
I
And
really
so-
don't like In-N-Out.
and
I
the
don't
thing
know
is, I did
why.
not grow up with In-N-Out. I grew up with McDonald's burgers. Actually, to be honest, I had, and you guys might remember this from the East Coast, because this is where I got from, is Carol's. There used to be, I don't know if you guys remember Carol's Burgers, but they're like one of the original drive-in burger joints, even before McDonald's came up on the East Coast. They were pretty much proliferate throughout that area. I was getting them out of Norfolk, Virginia, back then, right? But then I started liking what was that, Burger King's Whoppers, right? Those things used to be bigger than my hand back in those days, and it was, it was like a dripping mess,
No,
worse than the Big
not a
Mac
fan.
that they used to advertise from McDonald's. But it wasn't. I came to California. I was already an adult. I was about like 25 years old. They first introduced me to Tommy's Burger, which I wasn't thrilled about, but a lot of Californians loved it. Getting that chili on top of their burger, getting the chili on top of the fries.
Yep.
I just found it like too salty and too greasy, which wasn't. I like a good greasy burger, but I just didn't like the way how those guys did it. Right. But then when I got to In-N-Out, that I really like. I don't consider it dry as like the rest of you guys, but I think you're right in that, Pat. Is that it's the burgers that you kind of like grew up with, even though that's not one that I really grew up with. That is one for me, for myself, that I did like. Yeah. Okay. I so K-pop junkies right in here that they went to a Whataburger for the first time, and there was a grease fire in the kitchen. No one left while the place was covered in smoke. Holy moly!
It must be good.
I've had a Whataburger too, and then I don't know. I haven't been
Oh, I had a smash burger recently.
Yeah, we had
Smash
a
burger is
smash
good.
burger. Yeah,
It is
those,
good,
yeah.
those are not bad.
That is good.
Have you had it, Pat?
Yeah. Oh yeah. And there's one other place. I had Fuddruckers too, but that was cool. It wasn't amazing.
Fuddruckers was actually kind of fun because you get to put the whole thing together yourself. And when Mog and I met, that's one of the first places I brought her to because she had never been there. I just thought it would be something fun to do.
Yeah.
But then to watch her put a burger together and what she put on top of the burger, I can't even remember what she did, but she put things on that you would not normally put on a burger.
Okay.
And she was grabbing it from like other areas, and I go, okay, that's interesting. But she liked it, so I guess it was okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think Fuddruckers is cool. There's one other one I'm trying to find right now that I liked a lot, but
Five Guys?
no, Five Guys we have here too. In New York, Five Guys is cool. I do think that one's a bit too greasy and too there's not much char to the burger. It's not pressed against the grill. It's not caramelized. It's just like a wet piece of meat, which is not really my vibe. But it's cool. It's excessive, and it isn't what I look for in a burger. Like, I don't want to eat one burger and feel sick. I want to eat one burger and go, oh, that was satisfying. That was good. If you finish a Five Guys burger,
Yeah.
your night's going to be a nightmare.
Oh, that's kind of like eating a smash burger.
Oh, yeah?
I mean, for me, smash burger is really greasy. So,
Yeah.
But I guess it's worse than smash burgers.
Oh, Five Guys? Yeah, definitely. I say the cleanest, least greasy burger to me is Steak and Shake.
I never had it.
We did have Steak and Shake, right? And that's we had that out of the what was that place called?
I mean, Hawaii, they had Steak and Shake there,
But yeah, I wasn't really impressed with Steak and Shake, and there was Shake Shack or something like that too. Same thing. Not impressed with those two at all. Yeah, they seem like two joints that were mainly geared for the for kids, and that's what they were trying to please. Culver's is another one that like pops up that K-pop junkies just brought up. Culver's is not bad.
Never had it before. Yeah.
Yeah, we've had Culver's there.
yeah.
all out through the Midwest, Midcoast.
I'm not a burger person, so I just don't really like burgers. But In and Out, seriously, it's so overrated. I just could not understand why.
It really is.
Especially when you talked about the fries. Oh man, you totally spoke.
Yeah, those, I mean, absolutely, without exaggeration. The burger isn't horrendous. It's a 4.3. It's less than what you would expect a mediocre burger to be. The fries are the worst fries on planet Earth. Maybe there's a different planet out in some faraway galaxy with worse fries. Five Guys, I don't know how they can be that bad. I see them cutting those bitches in the back. They're natural cut fries. I don't know what goes wrong. They are the worst fries imaginable.
I like McDonald's fries.
McDonald's fries are great.
Yeah, everybody likes to have McDonald's fries. I used to, in my early days when I used to catch the bus, and I'd bring like McDonald's food on the bus that kind of eat, and everybody could smell that fries. They would like talk about, oh, somebody got them McDonald's fries, you know. Mm-hmm. I just eat it in front of their face. Yeah, they're mine. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's what I think, JD. That's what I like about the In-N-Out fries, is that they are not double fried, because then it's less greasy. I do like that more of the natural taste, because I'll make fries. I'll make fries here at home, and I don't fry them. I bake them, so they are on the dry side, and I do like them like that. Now I'll put a lot of like ketchup and hot sauce on it to help compensate that and give some taste. But that's the way how I do like them.
Mm. You know, you said you just was allowed to say Miss Meow?
Yeah.
Miss Meow. So what is the premise of that?
All right, so I'm trying to see what I can say. So the idea is that it is a shared superhero universe. Miss Meow is sort of like, in some ways, she's the Tony Stark of that world. She is a genius inventor. She's brilliant. She's very, very wealthy. And when my run starts, she is a superhero that has had a lot of drama with villains, and she is trying to have a fun life. She's trying to finally enjoy what she does. She's trying to chill. She's trying to not make any enemies. And she is pulled into a crisis with a demonic and or alien presence that she has no interest in being part of. And every issue she keeps trying to pull out and have fun with her life, and they keep pulling her back in. Okay.
The technology there, is it like present age, or is it a bit further ahead?
It's interesting. You know, it does take place in modern times, but I'd say that her tech, if it came out on the street, we'd be surprised about it.
Okay.
Interesting.
That leads me to this question. That story, VIX.
Yeah.
You say it's post-apocalyptic.
Yes.
So the technology there, no more electricity, like.
It's hard to say. You know, we've only seen a very small part of the world, so I don't really want to box us in. In the parts of the world that we've seen so far, there is none. But the climate has changed so much, and there's so much glow to everything, that the need for electricity has kind of gone away. So there's different ways that they power lights.
It's more like kind of like pseudo magic then?
Yeah, it's what happened to the world was an unexplainable event. It was a radioactive event that has changed things. So now a lot of the world has bioluminescence. So plants have a glow to them. The outdoors has a glow. So now night in this world is not night as we know it. So the need for persistent electricity has shifted.
Okay.
That's great. And you can see that we have the Kickstarter up on the screen there. And we're going through it. It's beautiful art. Love the coloring. Love how all the pages pop. Glad that it's not it's not like how it's digitally colored in a lot of books, where you don't have like too much. They don't have to like too much background, but here you do feel like you're in a story.
Yeah.
And so I do like that. Mike says that Jamie Tyndall puts Miss Meow over the top. for him. And well, Jamie does great work, so he knows how to draw those women. He's very very good at it. Yeah.
Yeah. So the Vix, is it the gender a boy or a girl?
She's a girl.
Oh, so it's a girl fox.
Yeah. No.
No. Vix is the human character.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
The fox.
Yeah. The fox is Kit, who is a boy fox. Yes.
A boy fox. Okay. Yeah. So does he can he talk in the comic? Do they know?
Can't talk, but he has a way of communicating with Vix in a pretty effective way, but not verbally. No.
Wow.
Okay.
That'd be cool though.
But still, like a giant fox. That's amazing. Yeah. I love it.
Thanks so
All
much.
right. And once again, Mog has she's working on Shanna, and we do have an opening bid on that from Mike for $50. Thank you for that.
Oh,
if you want to make a bid on that, we are taking those in $5 increments, and you can just place that bid in the comments. We're also giving away the Storm piece that Mog did earlier, and that is free. We even pay for the shipping, and all you got to do is make a comment here in the comment section. And right now I have Descending Climax, Figure Drawing, Cool Gamer, Mike Wasilowski, K-Pop Junkie, and I'm in the same in the drawing. So if you'd like to participate in that, just go ahead and make a comment. All right, and on that note, we're going to be right back. That takes us about 5 minutes past the hour. We'll be right back with Pat Shannon talking more about comics. Stay tuned.
Did you know that every experience show, including some exclusive content, streams on Twitch? Check it out, twitch.tv/the_EXP. Or just scan that QR code.
You just finished the last episode of your favorite new show, and you just have to talk about it. But all your friends are ghosting you because of that incident last week at the buffet. Oh, you know the one. What you did to that chowder. Ugh. Keeps me up at night. So what do? Join writer Dan Wickline as he breaks down all your favorite pop culture media. Whether it's a review of the latest nerdy TV show or a dive back into the history of your favorite comic characters, Dan's ready to discuss all the hottest topics live. Join the conversation as Dan live streams Tuesday through Thursday at 5 Eastern, 2 Pacific on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. The Dan Wickline Show, on The Experience, Comic Culture and Sales.
Programming on the EXP is made possible by viewers like you, or your local comic shop, or that Kickstarter you backed, or the publisher you like, or comic industry professionals who want to share a message with the world. Really, anyone who wants to advertise with us can. If you're interested in seeing a product you know and love, or are creating, or are publishing, or are involved with, advertised here on The Experience, and having your message shared with our viewers, please reach out by scanning the QR code below or visiting our website and using the contact form.
Okay, welcome back to the final hour of Sketch Up. Just to get you guys caught up, we do have a bid On the Shannon, Mike has that at 50.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to bid on that, just go ahead and place your bid in the comments. And then to qualify for that free art piece that we'll be sending out, which is the Storm, Asgardian Storm that Mog did, just make a comment and I will get your name into the drawing. Okay. And so we have Pat Chan here, and we were talking about Vix the Hunter, his latest Kickstarter that he has running on there, which looks like it's doing fantastic there. He's running about like 20 campaigns. You said 20, was it, campaigns this year?
Yes. In fact, let me just do a quick count.
Yeah. So he's one to watch and one to check out that Kickstarter. It has beautiful art on there. Nice piece with the four-eye fox. Makes it very interesting.
Yeah.
So you want to check. I know we're going to check it out. It's probably as soon as I get out of here, I'm going to go in and back that project up there just so that we can see what that's all about.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely got our interest in that.
Yeah. Yeah,
And,
we're at 19 campaigns this year, 24 for next year.
Wow. Okay, so you are growing,
Oh, yeah.
and if you're going to San Diego, he will be out there as well, so you can check him out. Do you know what your booth or your table number is?
I'm not going to have my own table this year. I'm going to multiple publishers. I will be at Devil's Due, Kickstarter's booth, Zenescope, and Black Mask, and I have 2 panels. So if you just go on my Twitter, it's Twitter at Pat Shand, or my social media anywhere, Instagram. I'll be posting all my appearances, availability, all that stuff.
There you go. There you have it. What's the next big show that you'll be doing after San Diego?
Oh boy, let me pop into my calendar. A lot of them. I think my next one after that is Zenescope VIP Philly. That's a Zenescope fan-only show. So you have to be a Zenescope VIP to get in. So if you just go to Zenescope.com, you can search that there. After that, I'm doing a one-day appearance sponsored by Niantic at Pokemon Go Fest New York. The next day, I'm doing Long Island Tropicon. 2 weeks later, I'm doing Baltimore. Then I am doing 420 Expo, which is a weed-focused convention in New Jersey to promote my book, Smoke Weed, See the Future. We have an exclusive for that. Doing New York Comic-Con, Exotica Jersey, Exotica DC, and hopefully, God willing, I'm going to be doing Anime NYC. And I did forget, actually, my bad. I'm doing a Rhode Island Anime Expo at the end of July.
Anime.
Interesting.
Why?
Because that's something we didn't hear until now, is that you've got an anime show in the mix there. How does that work out for you? Or is that something that you're just trying out now?
This is my first anime show ever. I have heard across the board from artists that indie does better at anime shows than it does at Comic-Cons. That's a pervasive thing I hear. So I'm testing this year to see if it's true. And if it's true for me, I'm going to double down and going back to the future.
Well, I'm going to be definitely interested in hearing that from you, because I'm getting the same thing. You know, a lot of artists, publishers as well.
Yeah, everyone keeps telling us
that I should be doing anime shows. I've done anime shows, but not for comics. I've done it for anime reasons.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of I've got a handful of artists that is like twisting my hand and telling me, Mel, you gotta do the show. You know,
I want to, yeah.
Mel, you know, just get a table with me. We'll do it. I'll show you. I'll prove it to you. You know.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I'll see.
Yeah.
I'll see what that's going about. And they just had Anime Expo here in LA, and one of the issues that they had there is that it was like way too crowded, right? And I know that's what a lot of anime shows will tend to do, especially out here. Like I think it was like about 2 years ago, they had one here in Ontario, and they did not have good crowd control, and they had people waiting in line till like 4 o'clock in the afternoon, waiting to get in. These guys paid a full ticket price for a one-day appearance on a Saturday, and now they're going to only get in and have only like a few hours to spend it. It wasn't. That's like the biggest complaint, and that's one of the complaints that I've heard constantly throughout the years with the anime shows. And the problem with that is because they're run by fans that tend not to grow into a professional way where they can try to run it as a business. They're still running it as fans, and that's one of the things that that I don't like in doing an anime show. Plus, since we sell mainly art, we don't see how they're able to. It's not an industry that tends to support original art, right? It's they have too many people that are replicating the artwork from the shows and selling those as prints of their own, which that industry allows. And you're getting away with that, which is fun, but it's not an arena that caters to us where it can be worth our while. K-pop Junkie writes, OtakuCon in DC and Yamakon in Detroit. Cons are open almost 24/7, so the dealers and artist alleys usually close at 8 or 9. I don't mind the long hours. The long hours does not necessarily mean that you'll do good there. Long hours to me means it's a lot of work.
Oh God, so tiring.
It's very
Kill me.
tiring.
Oh.
We do.
Oh
need,
my God.
We do need to rest as well.
Torture.
So, if I don't have to start until 3 or 4 and they want to run it until like 8 or 9, I'm kind of like fine with that as long as I have the morning where I can like sleep in. But if you're telling me that it starts at 2 and you don't allow me to set up until that day, meaning that I got to get in there at 8 or 9 o'clock to just set up and then stay until 8 or 9, that's a really
that's like a 14-hour, 16-hour shift. And you know what? On top of that, I think I would actually end up eating those cardboard pizzas. If it's that long, I have to. Usually, I starve. I'm like, I'd rather starve than eat that food. I'm with Pat there. I mean, I just give me soda. I'll drink soda all day instead. But
wow. You're right about that, K-pop Junkie. Anime cons go harder than prints and pins and all that. They're all related. But for me, those are small ticket items. I can't see how I can get into the thousands of dollars in there because you're going to have to sell a lot of those. To me, that's trying to get like pocket change, which I'll try to do with a few things that I have, but I'm after the big money. I'm going for the sales that are like in the hundreds and the thousands, right? So unless somebody wants to, I don't see anybody coming up to me and telling, hey, I'm going to buy all these pins where it can get to that amount, right? So that's one of the reasons why I don't want to do an anime show. Right? I see that now when we're at a con and they have like these anime people next to us, and they're talking 20 minutes to a person, try to sell them a small print that's like $3 or a pin that's $3. It's just not worth it to me. Yeah, I do see that some pins sell for 15 to 20. The collector pins, but again, it comes down like to how many of those are you going to sell? The $15 to $20 range, that's our smallest price range that we deal with, and it's not something that we heavily profit from. We don't do much in that, but we have it there as a way to introduce people to the artwork.
I think you may be a bit harsh there because this is my theory. That's what
everybody's telling me.
May I speak my theory?
Yeah, go ahead.
The reason why suddenly there is not a sudden, maybe it just gradually happened. There's an advent of like advocates of Anime Con is actually good. You can make money there, comic guys. It's because of this. I think the people who loved anime growing up, they're mature now, so they have enough discretionary income. Okay. And those guys are still going to the same Anime Expo. And one thing that Anime Expo is still has different from a Comic Con is it's not really diluted by mass media Hollywood. it's all art centric in a way. Think about it. I don't think they're going to bring the Mandalorian or the HBO guys coming in, and the actors and actresses, they're all going to come here. I think at the most they're going to have like the anime voice actresses or actors or the directors, something more art related. So maybe there's a more respect for art and desire to buy original art, prints, all of that. I mean, that's just my theory. So I could be wrong.
No, I mean, I don't think that you're wrong at all. I also think that this wasn't true 15 years ago, 20 years ago, but the truth is that now anime is not only mainstream, it's popular with young people. It's looked at as cool, whereas comics has never really hit the mainstream. Comics remains niche. You know, I can tell somebody while traveling that I write comics. I'm like, oh, you're a comedian? And it's like, well, I'm funny as fuck, but no, I'm not a comedian. You know, I'm a writer. And they're like, oh, so you write what? And I'm like, comic books. Like, they still make those? And I'm like, yeah, you know. But if I were to say I am going to an anime con, like, oh, my nephew watches this, I like this. It's the extent to which it's more mainstream is incalculable.
Yes.
Yeah. Again, you know, it's. I'm on the low spectrum here, and I hear like what everybody's saying, and probably the best way is just to go out there and try it and see what it's really like. You definitely got to try more than one.
Yeah, because even if
I'm
the
not,
first one doesn't work out, you can't judge it by that, right?
Yeah, you can't. Right. So it's like in this business, but even when we try a new show, right? I won't try it just one time unless there's something really that's like off there that I see that is not gonna like benefit us, right? But I will give a show like 2 or 3 times before I write it off. So yeah, I hear what everybody's saying here. JD writes, I feel like anime fans are more likely to want to display related art on their walls than comic fans are. Just a feeling. I don't know. I've been displaying comic art for like a long time. In fact, the last time I just bought some prints from eBass and what's his name?
Metcalf.
And Jason Metcalf. So yeah, I still buy art and collect it. I've been doing that for a while. Anime fans, I know that they've been buying it too because as a retailer, I've sold a lot of anime prints, and so I know there's that market. But again, that's the low end of the spectrum. I don't see what I want to see is that, oh, that's the guy that did Trigun. You know, I want to buy his art. You know, there's not that name recognition that we see like in the comics, not so much.
I think in the actual Asia, when you go where they live, then there will be like, just like here in the Comic Con, but even more fervent and ardent because there's like otakus. I mean, there's so much diehard fans that they're like, oh, he's gonna be there, they're gonna go. It's gonna be a mass exodus. But over here, I don't think they can possibly fly out constantly.
You are right. Okay, except for the fact that if you go to any of those guys' sites and you see their actual artwork and what they sell it for, their prices are so low compared to the comic book artists, right? And you can go and check any one of those guys out, and you'll see they're very, very inexpensive.
Well, it's probably because they make a lot of money just in their career because anime is popular and comics aren't.
Yeah, hands down, that's
I agree.
very true.
And they get royalties, so maybe that's why they don't really care too much about the original arts and selling that. But over here, the culture and the way it's run and the artists are paid is different. So that's why they have to make money on original arts, in my opinion.
I don't think that would be a factor because if a fan likes the art, they're going to buy it. But the fact that they're selling it at a low price isn't because that they don't feel like they need to have it at a higher price. It's because that the demand just isn't there. If there was a demand up there and they felt that demand, that price would go up. So I would have to like disagree with that.
I mean, one thing that's different too is that largely, and this isn't always the case, but for American comics, it's largely line artist, colorist, letterer. In manga, Not the case. In manga, there's a background artist. There's the lead artist who will do the figures. So a piece of original art isn't always going to be a piece of full original art. It's not going to be the same as buying a Jim Lee page. It's going to be a piece of what you love. So I would say that definitely contributes to why it would sell for less. And the pages are just not made with the same process as American pages. There you go. But I think that the interest in them, the interest in manga and anime is just, it staggers well above American comics. So I think that the fact that there's no, there's not going to be an artist who will have a backlog of $500 pages to sell for a career and just hope to sell them. That's not going to happen. They're just always going to be making work, and they're always going to be successful and have a fan base, So I feel like it's just so much more active that there's no need to sell it for more. So selling it for more would just kind of turn off fans because there's so much of it.
Okay. Yeah, and you're right about that. Manga is like really, really way up there. And you can see that immediately when you walk into the bookstores. Look at the section that manga occupies and then compare that to the section that comic has, if there is even a section in the bookstore for comics. But manga takes up bookshelves. It takes up a whole area in a bookstore, whereas comics, it might take a shelf.
Well, before we get into that part, I think let's go with some of the comments there. Okay, I think there was K-pop Junkie was trying to say on the comments. Yeah. Meet specific. So she's saying, I don't know if K-pop you're she, but like she's saying basically there is all of that happening also in AnimeCon. There's a lot of insane lines. People go there for to meet artists. I mean, yeah.
I do. Okay, I remember in the '90s going to San Diego Comic-Con, and they had anime artists out there, like the lady that did Ranma. Very, very big, very, very big line, and you could get artwork from her. It was really, really cheap. So it wasn't hard at all. So again, it's at that level. I'm not trying to discredit them and say that they're not worth it, but I just don't see that there was like that demand there. And on that note, this is quite a discussion we'll have here. We are going to have to take a break.
Yeah.
And so we'll be right back with Pat Chen to be talking more about comics and art.
Yes.
Why was Princess Zelda sad after watching a bunch of YouTube videos? She couldn't find the link in the description. We'll stop if you subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's super easy. Click subscribe and click the bell when you do. And thanks for supporting the EXP.
Comic Collectibles is a pretty straightforward show. You got Rex here, he sells the comics, and you got Rock and Robbie, he knows about the comics. And finally, John, well, no one really knows what John does. I mean, don't get me wrong, he's a great guy, but he just keeps showing up. Come to think of it, I don't even really know how he gets in here. Anyway, awesome comics, rare books, rarer signatures, slabbed books, and amazing cover sketches by Ken Hazer and others. Simple formula, you want the comics, you buy the comics. To sum up, Rex sells the comics, Robbie knows the comics, and John, who might possibly be a ghost. I mean, seriously, has anyone ever seen him show up or leave? Comic Collectibles with Rex and John, Mondays from 6 to 8 Eastern on The Experience. Comic Culture and Sales. To be continued. 3 little words that hold the secret to the next great story. 3 words that will thrill you, confound you, give life to new possibilities. Every variation of To Be Continued is a promise of adventure, a promise of excitement, a promise of unseen wonders and unexplored worlds, a promise that every issue you read makes you a part of a never-ending journey. And behind every page, there will be an unopened door waiting for you. This story to be continued at your local comic book shop. Visit comicshoplocator.com today.
Go follow the experience on TikTok at @the_EXP1 or scan the QR code on the screen. Our TikTok is like everywhere else we are, except you only have to deal with us for a minute. Seems like a win-win to me.
Welcome back, everyone. We're here with Pat Chen. We're just talking about anime cons and the regular comic cons between the two. And I just want to say that I'm not trying to put anime shows down or anything at all. I've done them in a big way back in the 90s. So I know what in fact, that's actually how I met Mog, was kind of like through at the Anime Expo. So I can't like put them down that much. And eventually, probably sometime next year, we will do an anime show because my arms are getting twisted. I don't think I'll do an Anime Expo because that's a little too big. I might start something smaller like the SACCon out in Sacramento. But we'll see about that. But Pat, you brought something out. Is one thing that you said is that you were told that independent comics does well in an anime show. And I was thinking about that during the break, and I could kind of like see that happening because many of the independent comic books, they're not superhero comic books like what we normally would see from like a Marvel or DC. There's a shift in the independent market where they're not doing that as much, and we see that even from Image Comics, who doesn't want to hear even pitches about a superhero comic books anymore. Even though Top Cow is trying to bring back Darkness and Witchblade.
It's true. I mean, I hear it all the time. When I am talking to publishers, I largely do my own thing. My policy now is that if a publisher comes to me, I'll talk to them. If they come to me and say submit, that's a conversation I'll have, but I don't submit anymore. So when those conversations happen, I want to make it as quick as possible and just to see if there's a vibe. And the thing I'll hear the most when I say, what would you want from me? The thing I hear is no superhero, no vampire, and largely no zombie, but there's a longer list. But the first thing they always say is no superhero.
All right. Yeah. This is my question. Kind of like tying back to what we were just, it's a little bit like segueing from that. Is you actually mentioned that, even actually Mel, you mentioned the manga anime is so strong, right? Mm-hmm. That you see it more in the bookstore commonly than comics. Mm-hmm. And then the question now leads to why do people like manga so much more than comics, right? Isn't it because, just like what Pat just said, the criteria, no more superheroes, no more blah blah, is because the comic here, it's almost dogmatic, the same type of story, the same type of blah blah, whereas manga, there's so much variety that it's hitting everybody's spot. I don't know what it is, but it's hitting something. I don't know. So I just want to know, why do you think it's so much popular?
I think there's more than one reason for that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, there's more than one reason, but I'd say that largely it's because comics has been defined by a very niche genre. Superheroes are incredibly niche, and comics has really made that into what it's known as. So a lot of people don't even realize that comic books exist outside of superheroes. And they hear, do you want to read this comic? And they hear, oh, do I want to read this story about a muscular man in tights punching a muscular asshole in tights? No, I don't. It's seen the same way as wrestling. It seemed the same sort of, colorful costumes, fighting. That's how people see comics. Now, comics, of course, have a lot more depth to them, but the fact that superheroes are so pervasive, people really write it off. Whereas manga, you see more stories that you could see anywhere else. They're not dependent on one genre. You can't look at manga and there's story structures that trend, shonen trends for sure, seinen trends, but you look at the bookshelf of a manga store and you can see a series that's like boy is best friends with his dog, volumes 1 through 25. Stories that would never get picked up for even 3 issues in comics have a long life in manga. Manga, you are able to stay with characters who aren't superheroes on journeys that last for years. You can invest in manga. It's a lot more normal for manga publishers and creators to stay with the title for a long time. It's more character focused. It's more emotional. It's less addicted to things that don't matter, like just these weird trends that you see comics creators obsess over. Manga, it's just more. It's more alive. People are more willing to try different manga because there's more different options in the forefront. They don't have to go digging. You go to a place that stores manga. It's like going to a record store. The options are endless. You go to a comic shop, you're going to see superheroes immediately.
Yeah, it's hard to find like what. Okay, so in Japan, like I grew up there. There's a shoujo, which is for girls, and then there's shonen, and then there's now mature for josei, which is for mature ladies.
Yeah.
And for guys, I'm not sure, but there's so many segments within the categories: sci-fi, fantasy, everyday slice of life, everything. Anything goes. It's totally like you say. It's free. It's like expressive. And if you happen to do a good quality story, that's it. You get, people like you. That's all there is. But over here, I think a lot of writers are out there who want to do all these things.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like they're only people in Far East Asia is creative in that aspect. Over here, there's so many people who want to do all kinds of stories. But the number one thing that they end up encountering is like what you just said, Pat. Will it sell? Will people be open to it? Because it's under the word comic now.
Yes.
It's going to make the sales.
Yeah.
That's the big concern. So I'm not sure like how.
I mean, I love that sort of the idea that in manga, genre isn't so niche. It's more of a broad who this is for and not strict as far as what the comic is. With superhero, that's a very specific genre. We're talking about shonen, josei. In fact, one of my favorite era reviews said that Snap Flash Hustle, a book I did with Black Mask, is a millennial American josei. And that was like that. Yeah, that's the exact kind of book that I want to write. And
really?
Yeah.
You like josei?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow, I like that. That's so rare.
Oh yeah.
Like you like shoujo and josei kind of things?
Yeah, I would say that Destiny New York is the same vibe. And I just think that those kind of loose genres and classifications are so much more helpful for not only creators but for the reader. That's who built up manga. That's who makes anime such a cultural movement. That kind of genre where it's just this is a book for this kind of reader. Boom, easy sell. With comics, it's like, is it a crime thriller? Is it a superhero? Is it a noir story? That's too specific, and it makes these subgenres really just more oppressive and less helpful for the reader.
That's a good point that you're bringing up there, Pat, because the readers these days, they're not. Well, when comics was created, it was developed for the young boys.
Yeah.
And that's the market niche that they were going after, and that's not the case anymore. So, today's readers of comics want something a little more diversified than that. But then you do have your guys that still love the genre for what it is, being the superheroes. But they also are, even though they still enjoy that, they are delving into the independent market and looking for other things that they can read that's not superhero driven. And we haven't seen a market like this that we have today in the independent market. It is so diverse and so much more now. It's getting part of it is getting way too proliferated with a lot of junk as well. I mean, there's good stuff there, but there's a lot of junk.
Yeah,
There's a lot of junk.
that's where I think manga, I mean, the Eastern culture has an advantage. So this is how they work. And I'm really sad that they don't have it here. The independent comics is a great avenue for anybody to try to, do their own thing, right? Create their own, what do you call it, flag, conquer the whatever land. Yeah. But unfortunately, it's too chaotic. There's no order. There's no structure. But however, in Asia, the way it worked was like this. It goes under a publication company because I studied the history. I'm a huge whatever. So anyway, the first publisher in the manga world, do you know, it's actually not for the boys. It was shoujo. Yeah. It was for girls. That was the first ever manga, and exploded. And then from shoujo, they created shonen. Okay, and the thing is, so these publishers are actually kind of like, what would you say? What's that thing? The sifting through the mud, and only the gold comes through. So anybody that you go under the publisher, and then you produce your work through them, like Hanato Yume, Reborn, all of that, those guys, you know right away that anything you buy from that company, kind of like CGC, like this is certified, it's going to be certified good. Yeah. So that's why the manga artists, they don't have to go through this struggle to do Kickstarter and try to do your own campaigns and blah, blah, blah. They just have to apply to these big publishing companies, just hoping that you're going to make it through because your art is good enough or your story is good enough. And right. And then anything you produce from then on, it's like, what? You're the geese that lays the golden eggs. Over here, they don't have it. They don't have that.
Yeah, no, it's true. I mean, I entirely agree. The publishing industry centered around manga is so different from American comics, and we see the need for Kickstarter was created by American publishers and the DM struggling with indie books, and I feel like we're in the middle of a change, which I really like. One other thing, though, is that largely manga and anime is also not scared of sexuality. American comics and American comics creators are.
What do you mean?
That I think that in Japan, in manga, character designs aren't shamed when they have an element of sexiness to them. Whereas, for example, I worked for years with Zenoscope. Zenoscope has a sort of like a, sexy horror character vibe. And other creators for years would shame Zenoscope for having characters drawn in a sexy manner. And the fact of the matter is that you would see people saying, oh yeah, the people who read Zenoscope must be guys who live in their mom's basement. When the fact of the matter is, at conventions, who bought the comics? Women. Yeah. Women want to see that kind of thing reflected in comics. People online accuse a sexy depiction of being repressive when the younger female reader sees it as empowering. The older female reader sees it as empowering. It spans generations, and it's just been such a weird thing seeing comics have this really puritanical edge that manga doesn't. I mean, I take a friend to an anime con, and she wants to buy shit like, sexy prints, and people assume that it's for like these, lecherous guys in comics, but in manga, it's just so much more open. It's so much more free as far as that goes.
Well, it's actually outside of the United States where they're more open in general about sex. They see it not in the way how it's trying to be portrayed here in the States as being like something that's a taboo, that we shouldn't be doing it, into that it's a sinful thing. Whereas outside, it's more accepted. The women want to see this stuff, and I've observed the same thing as you, Pat. The women buying these prints, the art book, the stories, especially the stuff, even some of the stuff that Image is putting out through from Takao with Matt Hawkins, who's writing a lot of sexual adult material and tackling on those issues. It's the women that's buying that stuff, and they're willing to spend the money on it, and that's something that I've been trying to point out to Mog for a while too. But I think it's because they want to see beautiful women. They want to see it. It's something that we've been telling the women here is that, oh, you want to look beautiful, you want to look sexy, and we see that in the advertisement. That's what they do, right? That's what they glamorize, right? And then yet you're trying to limit it in this industry, saying that it's not. But I don't know. The times are changing, and I think it will change as well.
I don't know.
Same thing with like the Kickstarters. Like you said, this is to me, I see the Kickstarters as like it's a revolution.
Oh yeah.
It is a big revolution, and we're gonna see where this lands exactly, to see what kind of relationship we have between the publishers and the creators, with the writers and the artists. That's yet to see what direction that's going to go in, but I think it'll be interesting to see what happens there, and hopefully it'll give us more creative freedom and more easy access to the consumers.
I don't know. I don't know why. Because okay, I lived in Korea. I lived in Japan. Okay, let me tell you, they are the most repressed people. Okay, when it comes to sexuality, it's just culturally, it's all about facade. We have to be proper more than here. Okay, that's why I like it here. However, when it comes to art,
The work, yeah.
it's different.
Yeah.
All we care over there, we don't care about politics. We don't care about putting an agenda or whatever. Art is something totally separate. It's just separate. Just be free, be creative. And the reason why those sexy girls do sell, the prints, if you talk about the anime girls, do you know why? It comes down to exactly what Pat said in the beginning. Pat said that for him, it's character driven. It's because the character is not the really look sometimes. It's actually the character is so interesting. Sometimes just so out there, eccentric, funny, or so nice. They don't care what they look like. They just want to support the character because they fall in love with the character. So it comes down to, again, good storytelling, in my opinion.
I agree. Yeah.
I don't know, Pat, what you think about it, but yeah.
No, I mean, I agree. You know, I've whether I'm doing a book that is pure fantasy, a book that is a drama, or now my adult material, I get comments about character. You know, like people assume that if a book has, you know, sexy content, that the book is that the readers are all gonna be, you know, horn dogs. But the truth is that when it comes down to it, they're talking about character, they're talking about story and themes. That's what defines it. Let me just stop my cat from going over the balcony over here. Come on.
Huh? Oh, it's a black kitty. Oh my god. The kitty is so cute. Oh.
Oh, buddy.
Black kitty.
Here he is.
It's a boy?
Yeah, Hoyt.
Oh.
He's a big one.
But you got another black kitty behind you.
Yep. Oh yeah, that's Odo over there.
How many do you have?
Got 4 cats.
Wow.
Oh, I was gonna ask you, like, because there's always like in Vix, there's a fox, and then the other story there was a giant cat.
Oh, yeah.
Like, do you like animals? And you answered my question.
Oh yeah, love them. Love them. These are my babies.
Aw. You know, JD said he lost his Chunky last week, and he missed his furry face.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Oh, I'm really sorry to hear that. It's really bad. Yeah.
Right. So So currently we have a bid on Muller's Shanna. You want to share that right now to see like where it stands? It's at
I think it's
$50
best
by,
if you show it through your computer. Yes.
Okay, it's a 7 by 10. She's still kind of like working on it. Kind of give you an idea like where she's going with it.
Mm.
And you see Zabu down here.
Yeah, it's a giant kitty.
I love it.
Thank you.
So right now, Mike has the wing bid on that for 50. If you want to bid on that, there's a few minutes left that you can make a bid on. Just put that bid in the comments there.
So
I'll get that out to you.
So Pat, this is kind of just an out there question because we're talking animals. Do you actually end up crying more when you see an animal movie or a human movie?
Probably animal. It it depends on the writing for sure, but I'd say that animals are the easier way to the heartstrings than humans, probably.
Yeah. The moment I saw the Vic story, I was like, oh, another sad story. Oh no, he's gonna die. You know how writers they put an animal, they always kill them. It's just so sad. It's like, why? Oh, just yeah.
That's all right. So we've got like a few minutes up here. So we got $50 on that right now, and if somebody else wants to put another bid on there, in a few minutes we're gonna have the drawing for the. Who gets the free sketch? Woohoo! Free sketch here for the that's Guardian Storm.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And let's see if that came up there. Okay, yeah, I got that. That's the email address. If you are the winner, you can just email us your address on there. Okay, Jewish Dragons put a bid on that for 55.
Woohoo! Thank you.
Let's go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and review.
Did you rescue the kitties, Pat?
Oh yeah, they're all from rescues. Hoyt was from a California rescue. My Neil was found on a trail in California. My oldest cat, Odo, was left in a shoebox in front of my ex's job. That was back in 2012. And then my newest cat, Chi-Chi, she's 6 years old now. As a kitten, I was at a PetSmart and just getting some stuff. And these young girls come in. They found this little kitten covered in fleas on the street. It was like storming outside. And they asked Petco to take her in, PetSmart Petco, to take her in. And they said no because they have a specific rescue that they deal with, so they have to call them. So I started helping, I was like, I'll call this person, you call that person. And by the time that we had called a few places, I finally called the animal hospital to see if they could at least treat her while they waited to hear back. And they said, we can only treat her if someone claims her and has her as their own. So I was like, I'll do it. So I then took the cat off of their hands and brought her in. And from that point on, she was mine. So yeah, all four of them.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Mike, I do recognize you with the current winning bid of $60 on that piece. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
Currently in line for the free art piece, we have Jewish Dragons, Armin Nassim, K-Pop Junkie, Mike Wesolowski, Cool Gamer, Figure Join, and Descending Climax. Right. So if you want to get in on that, just go ahead and make a comment. I will be drawing the name in about a couple of minutes.
And also, guys, like in case you guys don't know about the share thing, especially if you're on YouTube, if you share this, it'll be great. Like we can, like the algorithm goes up, and it's super easy. All you gotta do is click on the share, and then the link comes up. And the moment you just say copy link, that's all you need to do. You don't even have to post it or share it anywhere. Just by you guys clicking the copy link, that actually kicks the share algorithm up, so it boosts this channel more. So yeah, there's nothing that you have to do. So in case you guys don't know that, please do that.
And we do recognize Jewish Dragon for having the current bid of $80 on that. So thank you for that. Okay. And now currently next week we were supposed to have Kurt Zauer on the show. He's backed out of that spot currently. So I am trying to find somebody else. So stay tuned for the postings, and we'll see who we can get, if any. If not, just follow us the following week, and we will have a new guest coming up on this show.
But Pat, I would really love to draw your giant four-eyed fox.
Oh, nice. That's cool.
I would love to. Yeah.
I'll love to see it.
Yeah.
She mentioned she will, because she's got that in her mind now, and she does drawing animals.
I love animals. I'm like you. I end up crying more at animal movies than human movies.
Without a doubt.
He's like, oh, I wonder if that makes us bad people.
No, it makes us good people. I mean, animals need our help more than people. So, you know.
Yeah, that's what I think too, rationally. Yeah. So that's why I end up.
I think it's helpful that people get a pet. I think it helps them. Helps them a lot.
Oh yeah.
And Mike has tapped out.
He tapped out.
No more bids. Same thing with K-pop Junkie. So Jewish Dragon is in the lead.
Woohoo!
With the $80 bid. Okay, so we've got all the names here. This is everybody's names for that free drawing. I'm just gonna toss them out here, and then they're all upside down, so I can't see them. And I'm gonna draw a name here, see who gets that. And it is Jewish Dragon that wins that. Wow. Okay.
He got the art, and he won a free art. Wow.
Oh, is it?
Damn.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Quite a night. Quite a night.
What a coincidence.
Okay, Jewish Dragons, you're gonna. What a score for you!
Yeah, congrats.
Winning, 2 pieces of art.
Yeah. Well, let's do another one. Free giveaway next week.
Yeah. We're gonna be doing the free giveaway until probably the end of August.
This was fun.
Through the whole summer, right? So if you like that and you want to get more free art, stay tuned. We'll also be doing it on our other show as well on Sundays on at the Artist Alley Shopping Network. And we'll see what we give away then. So you want to watch us on that.
Yeah.
You can follow Mog on Facebook, and we'll get that to you. I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. We really enjoyed it, and we had a nice conversation with Pat. And definitely want to get you back on here again, Pat.
Yeah, you're cool.
Yes, you too.
Yeah.
That was fun.
With the projects that you do. If you guys want to see more of Pat's work, where can they find you, Pat?
Find me everywhere on social media. It's Pat Shand on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, all of that. My company is spaced between Ent everywhere. And our new Not Safe for Work imprint is Cheeky Comics on Instagram and Comics Cheeky on Twitter.
There you go.
By the way, I want to say special thank you to K-pop. I forgot her full name.
Junkie.
K-pop Junkie and Figure Drawing. You guys left like one of the best comments. It was a heated discussion. Really loved the report that you guys both had. I'm sorry if we missed most of your comments, but we were also, Pat, Mel, and I, we were just getting into it too. So it was a really cool night. It was very discourse orientated, which I really enjoyed. Thank you.
Oh yeah, it was fun.
And you're probably going to see us eventually at an anime show next year.
Yeah.
Not that I'm doing it. I do go to check the anime shows out, even though I haven't done them in a long time. I still go and I check them out to see like what's going on there.
Yeah.
So they're and I do talk to the artists in Artist Alley to see like how it's going, and But anyway, we'll probably end up like talking more about that and other topics, get into some other categories as well. But we'll see everybody next week. Hopefully you guys can join us, and until then, you guys have a wonderful week. Take care.
Bye, kitties.
Do you remember what it was like when you were a little kid and you got a letter in the mail? Now imagine that letter was filled with information about your favorite shows, pop culture questions, links to things you're going to want to see later, and even sneak peeks at upcoming programming here on The Experience. That's what the EXP mailing list is. Every week, we send you sneak peeks, information, and all of the relevant links for all of the shows you want to see. Sign up now on our website or scan the QR code that's on your screen right now.